Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. We're going to begin with the big story of the day. It's a very sad one for Star Wars fans. We lost a legend. Carl Weathers, the greatest magistrate in the galaxy, has passed away at the age of 76, as confirmed by both his family, his manager, and StarWars.com. Not only did he contribute such a great character to the Mandalorian universe, Magistrate Greef Karga of Navarro, but the former NFL linebacker was also a hero to those who grew up in the 80s. The Rocky movies were iconic. As StarWars.com says, if he only had played Apollo Creed, that would have been enough to make Carl Weathers immortal for generations of moviegoers. But he gave us so much more. From Predator to Action Jackson, Happy Gilmore, and The Mandalorian, not only did we lose a wonderful performer, but a fantastic human being, in front of and behind the camera. Being a light of inspiration, he brought out the best in his co-stars and everyone he ever worked with. The man was an absolute gem, and this is an enormous loss. As a Star Wars fan, we're thinking about the future of The Mandalorian, and I've got to say, this is probably going to put things on the back burner for quite some time. I imagine Jon Favreau's going to have to rewrite The Mandalorian Season 4 and The Mandalorian and Grogu movie to accommodate for this loss, because Greef Karga was such a big part of all 3 seasons, and he had just given Mando, Din Djarin, and Grogu a house on Navarro, a permanent pad as they act as mercenaries for the New Republic, for a Delphi squadron, and Carson Teva. And that is the second amazing Mandoverse star we lost. First Ray Stevenson, and now Carl Weathers. Tributes have been flooding in, from those who worked with him and knew him well, to Star Wars fans and fans of the Rocky movies. Jon Favreau was asked to provide a statement from StarWars.com, and he said this: "I am heartbroken by this devastating loss. He was a hero from my childhood who I was lucky enough to meet, and then had the amazing good fortune to work with. He had the energy and curiosity of a young man, paired with the wisdom that his rich life and career afforded him. He will be greatly missed." Another heartfelt tribute came from Diana Lena Santo, who plays Morgan Elsbeth. "May we remember the best magistrate in the galaxy, a role model of hope and inspiration. How fearless and talented in his creative pursuits. How he climbed the mountain of life. How I will always be in awe of him. To Carl's loved ones, peace be with you. Rest easy, good sir, and as Carl himself would say, be peace." So, as I said, my dear friends, we do have some Star Wars news, and we begin with Ahsoka Season 2. A new report coming from Daniel Richman, also known on Patreon as Daniel RPK, states Hayden Christensen is returning for the second season of Dave Filoni's show. I don't think this comes as any surprise, and honestly, I'm very excited by this if it's true. But considering pre-production hasn't even started, it's impossible to know for sure, so it might just be a lucky guess. But nonetheless, this is to be expected, with both Ahsoka and Sabine stuck in Peridia, and having seen Anakin's Force ghost on a world that is believed to be connected to Mortis. It's almost impossible we don't see more of him, and learn more about his importance in the Force. I also hope they answer the question, why didn't we get more Hayden as a Force ghost in the sequel trilogy? We hear his voice in Episode 9. Some believe Dave Filoni is going to pay off the Mortis arc in the Clone Wars series, and Anakin is the new father. Is he going to speak with a recast Baylan, who he himself admitted is searching for a new beginning? Is it the world between worlds, Abeloth, or something else? And while we're on the subject of the Ahsoka show, StarWars.com have announced a comic adaptation, similar to what they've done for the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian and Obi-Wan Kenobi. But here's what I don't understand. Once again, they've snubbed the Book of Boba Fett. It's actually quite astonishing to me they didn't make a comic adaptation of the most adaptable show. Say what you will about the Book of Boba Fett, and I know it gets a lot of hate, some moments feel like they came right out of the 90s expanded universe comic run. His escape from the Sarlacc pit, his fight with the Sand Beast, riding the Rancor in the finale, confronting the Pike Syndicate, hunting down the Kintan Raiders, invading Jabba's palace, or should I say at the time, Bib Fortuna's palace, and there is even a character who originated in comic form, who made his live-action debut in Boba, Christensen. I don't understand. Same with Andor Season 1, but don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about the Ahsoka adaptation. We're going to look at the preview and variant covers in just a moment, but first things first, let's read what they said. Ahsoka Tano is back. Anakin Skywalker's Padawan recently returned to the screen in the critically acclaimed Disney Plus series, Ahsoka. And this summer her adventures with Sabine Wren, Hera Syndulla, and Professor Hu Yang are coming to your favourite comic book shop. Oh, and that's a very interesting point. Collecting Star Wars comics, both new and old, is one of my passions, and I keep up to date with certain online communities as well, so I kind of hear rumblings of what people talk about. And I have noticed there is a trend with many fans both here in the UK, but also America, Canada, Australia. So many fans don't have a local comic book shop they can frequent for the latest issues, and if they do, they don't stock Star Wars. It is a very common complaint, and until I moved a couple of years ago, that was also my frustration. Where I live now does have a somewhat local comic shop, and I do pick up the occasional Star Wars mainline issue, or recently Dark Droids, and Dr. Aphra, which came to an end. But anyway, ploughing forward, StarWars.com is thrilled to announce that Marvel will adapt the series along with other fan-favourite Disney Plus comic adaptations, including Mando and Kenobi, with Star Wars Ahsoka arriving in July. So there is our release date. The 8-issue miniseries is written by Ronnie Barnes, with pencils from Stephen Cummings and George Genti, following the story of each episode from the first season. Season 2 is currently in development, and I love they keep reminding us of this. There is, pretty much without a doubt, a second season on the way. So now it's time to look at the cover for the first issue, episode 1. We have the main cover, as you see here. I love the vibrant colours. Hera Syndulla's green, Sabine Wren's fiery, purple, pink and orange hair, and the animation style of this cover is really satisfying. And my most favourite aspect of this issue, Baylan and Shin, on the bottom left. It's not a big deal, it's just a comic adaptation, but we've got to take breadcrumbs of gems when we can find them. Please put them in Tales of the Jedi. With many pre-Disney Star Wars adaptations, while they stayed true to the storyline and didn't add anything new, artists took the initiative to make it their own, sometimes being a bit more malleable with certain elements, certain coloration. They didn't pretend that live action and comics were the same, so they did have some degree of flexibility. They could bring their own thematic tones to it, and that's what made them different to the shows and movies. They should definitely have that freedom here. Okay, so on to the variant covers. The first one is awesome. Biker chick Sabine, on her speeder, on Lothal, and then the final variant, which is much more grey, Morgan Elsbeth, and Ahsoka Tano. Really cool stuff. But what do you guys think? Share your thoughts on everything we spoke about in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always. And don't forget, be peace.